Oh, what we got today? Alright, looks like we all set up. Oh, long days, long boy. I'm actually tired, but my day ain't over. I got a whole lot of shit to do here in a little bit. I dropped a vlog that the Vert engine got broken in the randomest way. Only drove it 3 miles, but that's gone, getting set up and refurbished. And I know all of y'all gonna love this one. Picking up the RX-8 tonight. Yes, RX-8 is getting picked up tonight, but I gotta combo that. I gotta go pick up Farron Aaron's Mustang, and we're gonna drop it off to the same spot I'm picking up my RX-8 at. So I got a really busy day. Matter of fact, even after putting in a solid 8, doing 8, you know, that kind of shit to be Simone don't like, them 9 to 5s, you know what I mean? Is that girl even worth it to be listening to? Fuck that shit. We make good lives out here on 9 to 5s. You bitch you. Rock boys in the building. Let me crack this open. Let's get into it. It's for the boys. Alright, so I'm Lexus King. This is Long Form Conversation Podcast Experience Gained. I appreciate you guys for joining me today. I got off the bikes a little bit, right? Matter of fact, I think the bike life got up off me. That shit was like way out of my system. And I was like hell bent on these cars. Cars already done, ready to roll. I want to learn how to drift. I want to learn how to drift on the track though. Because I was doing a little bit of skid pad activity. Open parking lots was the shit. I used to live right across the street from Kennedy High School. That whole entire parking lot was wide open. No gates, no nothing. So we would sneak on there and drift, set up courses or whatever. It was way further, more advanced than autocross, but you know, it was technically gym kind of shit. I was like, dude, I gotta learn how to drift for real, for real. I was already banging keys on forums, and I found Thunder Drift. Thunder Drift was pretty tight because it was at a track that I had been familiar with already. I've already done track days there on motorcycles. I've done track days there on the cars. I might as well go there, right? Thunder Hill. Thunder Hill is, at this time, essentially my home track. So here we go. I roll out my very first event. It's a pro amateur Formula Drift sanctioned event. Thunder Drift. So as we get there, I was actually really nervous. I was kind of nervous. I went up there with Crick and Jovan. We knew a 636 Stunner. He rode West Coast Connection. And a few of the other homies. And because I was so nervous, I had forgot the key to my car at home in Richmond. Totally forgot my key. I loaded the car up the night before, completely slipped my mind. I woke up rushing, sped off without the key. I'm like, dude, I don't know what to do, right? Jovan told me go to the driver's meeting. He was gonna take my key ignition out and we were gonna go through the day without having the ignition, right? No big deal. But man, I called my father. I'm like, yo, I left my keys at the house. Can you swing by my house, go get them and bring them up here to Thunder Hill? And he was like, all right, cool. Totally didn't expect him to say that. So I go to the driver's meeting. Pops was on the way. Pops was on the way with the key. Hour and a half, 2-hour drive. Took the opportunity to jump on his bike and ride up. So super thankful for that. Because this was my first showing. I had to show people that I didn't know how to drift. Pops brings my key. I put the key ignition all back in. We get out there. So Pops like, well, I'm going to hang and I'm going to watch and I'm going to see what's going on. And, you know, let's see how you do. And, man, I'm going around the track and I know the track, right? But I really don't know how to drift. I get the car sideways. I can hold it sideways throughout the length of any turn. But then it was the transition. The transition was what would get me caught up. And I was having anxiety thoughts about when I bring it back, am I going to spin? So me thinking I was masking it, I'd have the car sideways, bring it to neutral, and then initiate it back the other way. But I would do it semi, what I was thinking was quick enough that people wouldn't notice it. So it didn't look bad. It was just a nice slide, and then it would do this, and then go that way. So it wasn't like a wop. It was, you know, like I said, my first year drifting. I was really trying to take it serious, really trying to learn this because, you know, like I said, I learned how to slide quite a bit from All-Star Bash. That was the first time I really got to drifting. Taking the car to this kind of environment, it was more nerve-wracking than just going out and having fun. So people are judging you, they're judging your car, they're judging your driving style. I mean, we can all keep it funky. Some of the other competitors, they're looking at it, they're like, yo, I'm better than him, I gotta be better than him. And you kind of do that too. You size yourself up in the drifting. You're like, yo, am I doing better than him? Am I getting any better than him? Go through the top 16, I couldn't hang. I didn't like get blown out or nothing, but I just, you know, it's a win or lose thing. It's very, very simple at Pro-Am back then. It wasn't nitpicking, oh, you didn't go as deep into this. It was just like, nah, he did better than him. That's it. Very simple. So I'm bit by the bug. Oh man, I'm bit by the bug. Now, as soon as I get home, I'm immediately looking for the schedule to line it up, get myself lined up for the next event, because I gotta do this. This is what's up. This is how it's happening. This is how it's going down. I want to be a part of this. Essentially now, I'm looking for any practice day. I'm looking for any street that I can do things that are up to speed, not parking lot slides. I'm talking about shit going fast. I need to learn just simple manjis. I need to learn everything that has car control written on it. So, I mean, that's what I did for like 4, 5, 6 months. Between going to those Thunder Drift events, I was getting like a lot of street time in, man. And it was fun till I was getting cocky one day out front of my house. One tire, I was tearing it up. One tire delaminated because I was using used tires. Because one tire delaminated, I went and swapped one wheel and put the other one on. It's funny because I was just ripping and I'm out front of my house, and I remember, as you see the bike shit, I was doing all that in front of my house. I was doing a lot of drifting from my house. I'd come down my house, down the street. When that light was green, I'd come down the street and initiate into the street and go down cutting and do a big transition and then go up Burke. A lot of people ask, like, how did you not get in trouble with the police? The police and I had a good understanding. I come in to change that tire. Now this tire is hot, passenger side, because I've been jamming on it all afternoon. This is a cold tire. So I come out, what? Do the same thing now. People are watching, my friends are at my house. I come out, car was over rotating, but the speed I had coming out of my street slammed right into the fucking curb. Tear my front bumper up, break the wheel, tear up a control arm, tear up a tie rod. And this is about 6 days before the event. Get to the house, pulling the car apart, pulling the wheel off. I just destroyed my front wheel. I only had 2 of those. Take that to Right Way Wheel in Walnut Creek. Gotta match this oddly neon orange color. I head back to the house. By then, I called my dad, let him know. My dad had his partner over there that does fiberglass and body work. I had a plain, simple white, so he just fiberglassed everything. I picked up all my homeboy picked up all my parts that was in the street for the fiberglass. We got that shit all back together. He fiberglassed and bondoed the shit out of it. That front corner was heavy as hell, but spray painted it and he cleared it and it looked dead ass. You couldn't tell, right? I changed my control arm, changed the tie rod, got the wheel back 3 days later. It was a 3-day turnaround. By Thursday, I was ready to roll. You couldn't tell anything. Normal onlookers couldn't tell shit. I could tell because that orange on that front right was different than the orange on the front left, but they were very similar. The hue was just off. I mean, I took a chunk out of that damn Inky, man. Lo and behold, man, as we later found out, and this is like when we go to do the refresh, my car wasn't straight. I always had that. Passenger side had a little bit more caster than the driver's side. I was the type of driver to handle the situation, not try to make the situation perfect. So boom, we go out for the next event. Big entries, right hand down, sliding in to a quick transition on the access road. And this was the very first time that I felt that I knew what I was doing. I qualified a little higher than I typically did. Again, I didn't make it out of the top 16, but I felt better about my driving. And I started realizing that I was getting more and more and more adapted to sliding the car and making transitions. As we're rolling on, I'm kind of understanding who's the key players around me, but who were the guys that knew what they were doing and who were the guys like me that just was out here flailing in the wind. And as I started to know everybody, I started to know who Jason Bostrum was, and Julian Jacobs, and Ryan Cotto I was competing with, Luke Longberger. These are all my competitors. It was like hella cool to watch them because they knew what they were doing. You know what I'm saying? Like they ultimately knew all the way what they were doing. And I'm like, damn, I want to drive like them because they were confident. I didn't have that confidence. I was the guy that wanted to be there and I wanted to work hard to be in the mix. But when I be sitting in that seat, dude, when I first strapped that helmet on and I sit in the seat, this is why I had music in my car. Always had music in my car, specifically for this. I'll psych myself out. I didn't understand mentally it would take over my physical ability. I would be slapping. I had a sub and everything because it was a street car. My RX-7 was a street car at the time. I was slapping because I was trying to rid myself of thoughts. I was just trying to let the music take it over, right? Then next battle, I go up against Jason Bostrum. I won't say it was controversial. I just didn't understand it. Now that I know drifting so good now, you know, the technical side of drifting, the one that makes it not fun to people that are just there for fun, and I know what the judges are going to say and what they're thinking. Now that I know that side of drifting, I can look at it more critically. But just being there in the element. So what happened? Here we go. So I qualified higher than Jason Bostrum. I go first. Nice big entry. As we came down, we're reversing turn 5 from Thunderhill. We come down, initiate. There's markers that clearly show initiate by this point. I'm initiating before that because to me this shit was cool to initiate deep. In the video, it looks like, well, it does. Jason Bostrum actually did touch off. He straightened out as we came from the first transition. He straightened out and then he reinitiated and was sideways and he went out really wide and touched higher. My understanding of the initiation cones was just be sideways before the last one. Remember I told y'all that that caster was a little off on that passenger side? So as I initiate, boom, big initiation. The car understeered. Wheel, it got caught. And it made the car understeer out. And then I reinitiated. But I thought in the driver's seat, it looked like I got it before I hit the cones, getting back sideways. So I sideways through that, drove all the way through. Boom, I go outside in and do my thing. I actually didn't get all the way inside. I just stayed right tiptoed along the edge. So I lost that battle. I didn't feel salty about it, but everybody, when I came back to the paddock, they were telling me, you won that, you won that, you got robbed, you won that, you got robbed. And because you're at a point where you're putting the effort in, you're putting in maximum effort, you felt good about it, so you believe people. You believe that you got robbed. You believe that you got that. I saw the footage afterwards, and it was pretty convincing. Like, it did look as if I got the win. Just as my sis say, so I put the two videos together, sent them to him. Yo, what do you think about this? He said, y'all both flew off track. I said, I didn't go off track. And he's like, well, that's offline. I was like, oh, okay. So I was just like, all right, you know, no big deal. A lot of people, and this is when I first realized that social media, people jump on teams, right? They'll be on your team for a minute, as long as they ride with you, and they ride hard, and they'll tell everybody everything about everything, how everything goes, and they could probably put you in a bad position, even if you hadn't said anything, because they'll speak for you, and whoever they're talking to, if they get offended by that person because they're riding for you, if they don't check their ego, they treat you as if you've said whatever offensive thing these other people have said. Because how I am, how I was raised, I don't say too much. I didn't say too much. I don't know if it ruffled feathers, but I know people spoke directly to me about the incident, the situation, and I was just like, okay, like I'm cool with all that. It is what it is. After I got the email from whomever they were, I said, I'm gonna be better than they've ever seen me. I'm going to beat the shit out of my car if that's what it takes. And I'm about to really, really rock final round. So we go out. I go up against a really nice guy. He has a Camaro. On the chase, what my plan was I was going to drag race his ass and not let him visibly get an advantage. And at the very last second, I'm pulling the Maverick Supersonic, hitting the brakes and letting him fly off the track.
Too fast on my lead run and ended up flying off the course. Just trying too hard.
I go through, boom, boom, boom. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. The next guy is a Datsun, and it was, I think, K powered, something. I wasn't too concerned with it. Now, Julian Jacobs. Julian Jacobs is an animal. We know him as Animal Style Julian. Julian was borrowing a car. Julian's the type of dude who jumps in anything and he drives the shit out of it. This is our very first time, very first time matching up. So the very first time I'm matching up with Julian, I've been watching him, but this is my day though, right? And I want the win. And Julian was on me. The first time I heard a SR the way that I hear SRs now. SRs are angry. They get busy. And I could hear Julian in my ears. We're going down the front straight. And I'm like, fine, he's close to me. So what? No psych out, no panic zone. I got it. We run down the hill. I'm sideways like this. He's good proximity, but he's not as sideways. But he's on me. He's closer to me than anybody's been all day. My car cuts out a little bit as I make the transition back the other way, but it keeps going. I was like, that's kind of weird, but we're good money, right? I'm chasing him, and he's really tight on the clip, and I hadn't really learned that skill of being positioned properly, and so I go through, hit a cone. The cone, what we later learned, the cone had ended up flipping up, and that shuttering that I had going on the exit coming out, that shuttering was the starter solenoid had gotten broken and was swinging around, and the power was arcing on the bottom of the car. Matter of fact, that's how Julian hit me. On the exit, when I transitioned this way, and I went to go transition the other way, the car had sputtered because the starter had arced, and as that makes a stall, Julian's already close. As the car goes boop, boop, he's already close because he was thinking of transitioning to go that way, and that's how I came across and hit my toe hook. I get the win. So I get back to the top of the hill, and I'm not even thinking about where I am position-wise. I'm just concerned with my car. My car's stuttering, and I don't know why. All the gauges and everything seemed good. I shut the car off, tried to cut it back on, and it didn't cut on. So I'm up top of the hill. I let the car roll, bump started, boom, and I stopped. So I'm just sitting there waiting for whomever was going to come back out. It was Adam Swan. Waiting for Adam Swan to come out. He just finished his battle. And Joe McGuigan, my homeboy Joe McGuigan, either drove to the top of the hill or he was just still sitting up there. And he comes in my car. He's like, buddy, you did it. And I'm sitting here like, man, well, fuck my fucking car. And I'm like, did what, Joe? And he's like, yo, no matter what happens on this run, you're on the podium. I'm like, the fuck you mean, dog? He's like, yo, you're battling for first place. If you lose this, you're still second place. I'm like, whoa, that's crazy. And he's like, go ahead and shut your car off, let it cool down and get ready for battle. I was like, Joe, it's not going to start if I cut it off. Like, we're going to have to bump start it. And he's like, you really? I'm like, yeah. So he was like, just cut it off. I'll bump you if you need bump starting. So I cut it off. But now, anxiety's starting to hit me. Oh, fuck. My car ain't running right. And I want to win. I want to win so bad. I want to win so bad. But my car ain't running right. Man. So I see Adam Swan coming back up. He had changed tires. Now, I never changed tires in Pro-Am. Once I start on a set of tires, that shit just is what it is. Unless I really cord them and the car has got no grip, that just is what it is. So I run my car straight until it tells me it has to stop. And so I'm thinking, is it telling me it has to stop? I'm risking it. Let's go. So Joe's like, good luck, boo. But a chase run, I'm in kill mode. And when I went to go do that and made the transition, the sputter was just, it shut off. And remember what I'm doing to the car. I'm arcing the system, which is so bad. Power is just hitting, shit's flipping out, cuts off, and it cuts back on. So I'm really tearing the car up. But the battle went okay. I lost that one, obviously, but yo, I'm on the fucking podium, dog. Second place. I went from getting knocked out top 16 each event. I've battled like really dope dudes. And man, when I tell you standing on that podium, pulling my car up, beat! Car was in tatters, absolute tatters, man. I just was like, the car is getting a refresh. It's getting a makeover. There's absolutely no way on this planet Earth that I'm going to be running this car like this with this body kit again, with this aero, with this look again. I'm changing it. In this Pro-Am, I had a terrible rest of the season prior to, but this specific moment, I was like, yeah, this shit was worth it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you think, there's a point in time when you're like, is this shit, I spent a whole lot of money, whole lot of fucking money. Like, if I'm gonna sit here and be an accountant and look at my numbers, now that shit ain't worth it. They were throwing Pro-Am in the middle of the week. It was on Tuesdays. Taking off of work doing that. The travel time, the modifications. None of that is worth standing on a podium. But that feeling, though, mentally, that I felt like I arrived as a driver. Now remember, this is just one event. To me, the ego, because I didn't learn to get rid of the ego yet, but I was a nice guy. I was a humble guy, but I did have this mental ego. The mental ego was, yo, I got to put on even better next year. I have to follow this up so that they know, so that everybody that's here knows this shit ain't no fluke. That was what my thought was. I didn't give myself a second to really fully enjoy it before I started like downplaying my situation. Yo, I hope they don't think this is a fluke. So let me just backtrack to the Julian battle. Julian is a stellar driver. Julian and I are the one more time champions, man. Since the very first day I got to drive the Cousin Pro-Am, is one more time battles, right? Then think about Super D. Julian and I have gone head to head eight times, and we've only driven together 3 times. 3 events, 8 battles. Yo, it's bonkers. And it's part of the fact that we both put forth like an awesome show when we drive. And then I know Super D, it's like, yo, keep that shit going because it's dope, right? And until somebody just definitively loses, keep them rocking. And we'll pick up with it. We'll get to Super D, but I just wanted to lay that tidbit in there. Julian and I love driving with Julian because I can put the sauce on it and he's got it handled, and he can put the sauce on it and I'm gonna do my best to handle it. So that's pretty tight. But man, we're gonna get into right before I change the style of my car. If any of y'all are really, really, really true homies and y'all been following it, you'll know where my car appeared right before the changeover. Somebody leave me that in the comments. Let me know where you saw the car at. Remember that all white with them day glow orange wheels. Let me know where else you seen it at. So we'll pick back up with that on the next episode, man. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for spending your Fridays with me. We're going to keep it rolling and rocking. That's what we do. This is a long-form conversation, experience gained, the visual podcast. So I'll catch y'all on the next one, man. I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a great weekend. It's sunny, it's hot. I got the AC on. And now I got to go pick up the RX-8 and drop off a Mustang to go get taken care of. So my day ain't over. The Rock Boys in the building.